Hello again. Today we're thinking about growing lettuce. We're going to be going through some of the stages in growing lettuce. One of the great things about this summer in our country is being able to go outside and to get some fresh lettuce, hopefully tomatoes to go with the lettuce as well, to make a wonderful salad. We're just going to go through some of the procedures that we follow when we're growing our lettuce. We always start off obviously with the seed. We're going to start off by planting some lettuce seed. We've got a small propagator tray here and we've got some lettuce seed. This is just some Webb's Wonderful, these particular lettuce seeds. It's a really old-fashioned lettuce, sort of crispy cos lettuce. We really love the Webb's Wonderful. And so we've got some seed and we're simply going to put the seed, we're going to scatter the seed into a propagator tray that's got some multi-purpose compost. Okay, we don't want to put too many in. Something like that should be absolutely fine. We've just spread them out quite nicely into the tray. Any spare ones I'm just going to put back. Okay, the compost was well watered before we started. We're now just going to sprinkle some well sieved compost on top. This compost has been sieved, this multi-purpose compost, and we're now just sprinkling it on top. Sowing lettuce is one of the easiest things that you can do. Really. So ideally we're going to do a depth of just under ½ inch, I suppose. But it doesn't really matter that much. Okay, so we've got our seeds planted. Going to give them a very quick water. Now we're going to put the top back onto the propagator tray, and now those are probably going to go in a heated propagator, or maybe in a heated greenhouse, or it could go on the windowsill in a kitchen or in a conservatory in the house, something like that. And before too long they will start to grow. Now once the seeds have started to grow, you're going to end up with something like this. Okay, so these were planted not that long ago and they've already germinated. They've grown quite well. So the next stage would be to actually transplant those, to pop them on. Now we're going to put them into some modules. Sometimes I put them in quite big modules, sometimes smaller modules. These particular modules here are fairly small. We're just simply making a hole in each one of the modules, and then the little lettuce that we've got, I've already teased some of these out from these trays here. We're just simply going to put into the holes. Trying to handle the lettuce by their leaves. Putting them very carefully into the tray. Okay, I'll complete the rest of that later. Once you've finished, they can then be put into a polytunnel, unheated greenhouse, conservatory, something like that, and they will then grow on very well. Before actually planting out later on, they're going to have to be hardened off a little bit, but at the moment those can go into a unheated greenhouse, polytunnel, something like that, and they will grow away perfectly. In a fairly short while, they will have grown on to this sort of stage here. So here we've got some that were put into modules not very long ago. You can see that they are now big, strong, sturdy plants. Now these have been in an unheated polytunnel for something like a couple of weeks, and they've been put outside as well at times to try to harden them off, which is important, particularly in a year like this when we're having lots of cold weather, particularly at night. So they do need to be hardened off before going into the garden. Now I've already separated these into the individual lettuce, so we're going to go over to the garden and we're actually going to plant these now into the garden where they're going to grow. Okay, so we've come over to one of our many raised beds, and this is where we're going to put some of our salad crops, and we're going to start off with the lettuce. The ground has been very well prepared. It's got lots of organic fertiliser in. It's been dug and it's been levelled, it's been raked. It's a really nice consistency, this soil. And so we're going to plant them into here. Now when deciding on the spacing, lots of people use line to try and get them nice and level and straight and everything. I normally use a piece of wood like this, and I put marks on to show where I want to actually put the plants. And so each of these holes corresponds to a mark on my piece of wood over there. I'm going to put them fairly close together. These are going to be harvested when they're quite young, before they get too big. And so, you know, I've got them fairly close together, I think. So we're going to simply put one of the lettuce into each one of these holes. Okay, so that's a start. I'm going to carry on a little bit later and put a few more in, but I'm not going to put too many in at any one time. It's better to sow a few quite regularly rather than a lot on too many occasions. And it's best to not put too many in at any one time, because there's a limit to how many lettuce you can eat if they're all going to start maturing at once. Now, a very important thing that I'm going to do to finish off with, I'm going to put some fleece over. Particularly with the cold weather at the moment, still frost at night, it's important to protect. I've got some horticultural fleece there, so I'm going to be putting some fleece over to try to protect the lettuce. Before too long, we'll be able to see they will thrive and they'll be growing away. And before too long, we'll even be thinking about harvesting our lettuce. So that's the way that we grow our lettuce.